Well, hello. Yo, welcome back. It is the next day for me after the last video I just posted, which was accessory bracket, shifter, blah, blah, blah. And as you can tell, Daddy's been working. And let me show you where I'm at. I got a bunch of knick-knack stuff done. Where should I start? I'm trying to remember what all I did. After the video yesterday, I did small stuff. Let's look, and maybe I'll remember as I go along. Oh, we got radiator in, new radiator holder downer in. Did I do anything else up here? The ICT brackets for the coil packs, but those aren't the correct ones for the LS1 coil packs. Well, let me show you that. Let me show you those. Something I learned back in NAM. So as you can see, these are the mounting holes for coil packs. Well, this is for the truck style coil packs where they mount on the side of the coil pack, or the bolt holes are on the sides of the coil pack, whereas LS1s, they have a LS1, LS6. The valve cover itself is completely different, and they mount top, above and below, rather than side to side like the truck. Do I have a? Oh, here we go. So here's your typical truck, and there is your LS1. So, oh, well, never mind. Sorry. This doesn't have the bracket on it for the coil pack, so I got confused there for a second. That's just the typical mounting holes for the coil brackets. But there's that. So those will be here, I think, Saturday, tomorrow. I don't remember. I'm waiting on transmission dipstick and some other minor things. I got the transmission cooler mounted. Now, let me kind of explain why I didn't mount it to the radiator. Because when you use the PTFE AN lines and you mount this flush to the radiator, usually you've seen me do it many times, but I don't use the AN fittings. I just take this line and I use a barb fitting and a clamp, because if you were to put this flat up against this, it is nearly impossible to get these tight or loose, because it's up so close, it's literally up against the radiator, that you can't get, it's just an absolute pain, get the wrench on there. So I also like where it's not mounted to anything else that's hot, like the radiator would be hot, so it has pass-through air. Also, oh, well, let me show you. I got the lines routed. And up under, right there. Oh, we're about to get under there anyway, so I'll show you once I get up under there. But yeah, 100% done. Transmission is ready to have transmission fluid put in it. I just wired up the fuel pump. Well, the wiring on the gas tank end. So I got, kind of see the red wire there. I got the positive and the negative wire running along with the factory fuel lines, but tucked behind them, which is why you can't see them. And then you can kind of, there you go. Now you can start to see it. And then, well, this was probably, I probably should have gotten in back there. Or I should have gotten under. Oh, drive shaft's in. Yeah, no, that was what I did yesterday. I put the drive shaft in. What else? Oh, I got the exhaust connected. There we go. Now I'm remembering. So I got the exhaust connected. All I had to do was jack up the cross member, and it gave me the room I needed to mount the exhaust pipe. That was two major things I did yesterday. What else? I think that was it, aside from some very small minor things. Now, Okay, there we go. So, yeah, fuel pump wiring ran. There's my body ground wire, and then that's where my positive and negative cable are connected to the fuel pump side of the wiring. I have it wrapped around so it just doesn't hang low, but you don't want that super tight. You don't want it to be pulling on anything. And I have it running over the shock mount, well, you can see, and then back down behind all that, running behind that, and then on top of the frame and all the way down to the engine bay. So it is 100% done on this end. I'm not going to hook up the fuel sender or the fuel gauge wire. This is the factory wire. You just splice it into that, or just put a fitting on the other end to just plug it in, because I think the owner might go with Dakota Digital, so it would be wired completely different. So yeah, I got the harness. I said that yesterday. I'm going to mount the ECU and the fuse block on this firewall panel, because it'll look good. Or I mean, there's plenty of room right here now that the AC stuff's all out of the way. I probably could mount the computer right here or something, but we'll see. And then here's my fuel pump wires, leaving them a little long, leaving them uncut at the moment until I figure out how long I need them to be for the fuse block for when I run the... Oh no, never mind. I completely forgot. The BP Automotive harness. So that's one of the things I like the most about the BP Automotive harness, is that unlike the Amazon harness, you run a 12 volt power wire to the relay for the fuel pump, and then you route the power wire for the fuel pump to the relay. With BP Automotive, it's just you connect your power wire to one wire on the harness, and that's it. Got fire ants all over me. Oh, look at those. Nice ass flip flops, little bro. Appreciate it. So yeah, that BP Automotive makes that very simple. You just take the power wire and you splice it to the harness fuel pump power wire, and that's it. So I'll probably cut it about right here somewhere, and then your negative cable will just go to the negative spot, negative post of the battery, and that is it. Got the oil dipstick. So let me show you the fittings to the transmission for the transmission lines. Got those all done and routed. So don't put your manifold header in or starter in until you do this. And then don't put your starter in until you start to run the harness so that you can plug in your crank sensor. Once you do those things, then put your starter in, then put your manifold header on. And I don't see why this will have any issue. I don't think this will have any issue. I still got plenty of clearance up there to mount it to the long tube. But next, I can just kind of semi-start the harness, which is what I just said. So I can plug in the crank sensor, and then I can put the starter on, then I can put the header on. So that's where we will go. I'm still waiting on oil cap. Oh my goodness. Been waiting on that for a minute. Well, we got one, but it's the wrong, I don't know. This goes, it has an oil thing, but it's a screw on. It's not the just tight, loose. This is like a coolant. Amazon got me. But I'll just kind of go backwards. I got the transcooler mounted. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but 95% of the cooler is mounted right behind this grill so that all that air just hits it as it's driving. So the customer is also, he's in Seattle, Washington, so they don't get Texas hot there. So we're not too worried about coolant temps. Gonna have to run a swivel thermostat because this the factory style thermostat points directly at the frame, and well, we kind of need to go there. So it'd be easier if we could just go whoop. So a swivel thermostat, I can kind of point it that way, and then maybe we can get something that just goes directly towards it. Now, let me, come here, come in real close. Come in real close. That goofy off finger. There are, remember, I've told you before, there are different thermostat housings depending on the water pump. So see how this water pump is flat all the way around? There's no grooves or anything. That takes a two-piece thermostat, meaning, well, thermostat and housing, because that's two different pieces. So, like this, where it pops out, and the gasket is on the thermostat, and it goes in there. Now, if you have a water pump, which is typically, well, no, I can't say typically because it varies on the trucks and SUVs too, where it has the groove in, it has this groove in the water pump, then that water pump takes an all-in-one housing, meaning the thermostat and the housing come as one, joined in matrimony, and it's not removable. So make sure you pay attention to that. What else? I might be able to kind of do the cooling system and everything. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to get it running in this video, but I'm not gonna say we will for sure yet, but I don't see why not. I have all the main things. I got harness, computer, fuel pumps hooked up, wired, except for to the harness. I need to run fuel line from the factory spot to the fuel rail. What else? I think that's it. Just to hear it fire off. Oh, I need to throw a tune on it. I think that's it. But yeah, I'm gonna stop yapping now. I gotta go get my son. So this video, you might see me, and it'll be a day or two for me, but not for you. So let's get cleaned up. Dave's got a date tonight with Candy at 8 down at the strip club. Oh, sorry. That's car stuff. Okay. It's been a couple days, and if you can't tell, I've been out here working. It's been a couple hours. I haven't been able to record because they're next door cutting tile, redoing my neighbor's bathroom, so I haven't been able to record because all you would have heard for the past 2 hours is cutting tile, which is all I've heard, so that's been great. Let me just show you where I'm at because I did a bunch. So obviously we got quite a bit more done. Oil filter cap on, coil packs on, coil pack brackets on, transmission dipstick in, intake on, just need to get a filter, fuel line ran, brake booster hooked up, which it's gonna be interesting to see if this makes enough vacuum for power brakes. Fuel gauge hooked up. Strongly recommend always putting a fuel gauge on there. Spark plugs, wires, PCV line. This is the return line, and I capped it just like I do any other time we have a return line that we don't use, because the in-tank fuel pump is returnless, so we don't need a return line. And then still just my power and ground wire for the fuel pump. And then it's this simple. These two wires come from the factory harness. They're gonna go on the big post of the starter. Especially every 80s GM vehicle, the starter wire is purple. This has been spliced in for some reason, but that'll go to the small post of the starter. And that's how you turn on by key. So these red wires will power the factory harness that comes in the car, and this wire will get the power from the key to turn the starter, start the car. So I can't, this is a aftermarket. Well, you gonna go in there or not? You kind of don't have a choice. Well, you're acting like you have a choice, but you don't. This just bolts with one of the header bolts to keep it in place. I don't know. I'm not liking that. I might get a regular. It's not going in. You raggedy son of a gun. But yeah. Oh, coolant hoses. That is the factory coolant hose that came off the car originally. All I had to do, it extended about this far, so I just chopped it up. This is the swivel thermostat, so I just lined it all up and put it right back on. And then for the upper radiator hose, I do not know what this is from, but I just go to the they let me go in the back and look at radiator hoses, and I picked out 3. That one is part number, it is the Gates 2432 coolant hose. So Gates 24342, and that is with the LS3 Camaro style water pump, where the outlet is on the driver's side. Your LS1, LS6, the outlet is on the passenger side, just like the trucks and SUVs. And then a 90-degree elbow to clear the power steering pump for the intake. Cheap intake off of Amazon. And just going to add the filter. And then next we will do, well, what I'll record is doing the harness, wiring, because that's what y'all are going to ask me about 8 million times, even though I've showed it 8 million times. I got an oil pressure sensor, or an oil pressure gauge hooked up. This was the one that came with the car, but it has a broken piece in there, so I wasn't able to hook it up to what the customer already had, so I gave him that one. I believe he's going to run Dakota Digital at some point though, so that is going to go away anyways. But yeah, so I got oil in it, I got some transmission fluid in it, these NPT fittings I got. So this is for the coolant crossover. I got a 90-degree one, but because the hole is so close to the casting of the water pump, you can't tighten the 90-degree fitting because it just hits the pump. So I got to get another straight fitting and then do a loop-de-loo for the coolant crossover, and then I can put coolant in it. And then I probably won't do the fans this video, because I'll still have to wait to hook up the throttle cable, because this intake doesn't have the inserts to put the factory bracket on, so gonna have to get inserts. So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where I'm at. It's time to go pick up my son from school, and then we will continue. I got brackets to mount the ECU. I'm gonna put the starter on. We're gonna do everything to hear it run this video. So I wanted to do, this video was gonna be absolutely everything, because I had so much already done that there was no point in trying to make a video of the cooling system, because I had already done 99% of it, or the wiring, because it's gonna take 20 minutes in this video. For me, it's gonna go by a lot quicker for you. And then just the little knick-knack stuff, it was just easier for me to come out here and do it and get it all done, because it was just a bunch of random little stuff. Also with the tile cutting, that's kind of pointless. So I'll be back. I'll look a little bit better, hopefully, because I got to get cleaned up, and then we should hear it run today, hopefully. Okay, so I'm back. I had to get some stuff from the store. and I just had to change up the coolant crossover, so I ended up having to splice into the upper radiator hose and using a adapter piece that I've had laying around, and then I just blocked off this port right here because I went and got another NPT fitting and that didn't fit, and it just started to strip, and I was like, okay, we're not about to go through a whole debacle just trying to do that. And then so that's blocked off, coolant crossover's hooked up, and then I found inserts in my junk drawer for the intake. Now you try to ask me, what inserts are they? I have no idea. They've been in my drawer for over 2 years now, because I do remember I used them on the OBS build, but I have no idea what they were, or like what I typed in to find them. Come on, they were just in my face. There we go. There's one. Oh. So, little insert like this, and the slits that are in it. What is going on? Focus. I don't have time for this. Those slits, once you start to tighten up the bolt, the insert expands out and clamps down inside of the hole, so it makes it nice and tight. So that's something that's out of the way, thankfully, because now I can hook up the throttle cable. So we got coolant crossover hooked up. We got everything done. I can put coolant in it now, put the intake back on it, and then I can move along to the harness. So they're done for the day. So now I can set you guys up and actually record some stuff. But there might not be much talking because I'm trying to get this fired up today, and life is lifing, so I'm just trying to work. So let me set y'all up and we'll see what happens. Okay, let's throw the harness on. So we're using the BP Automotive harness on this one, which for first timers and new people, same thing. Every plug and sensor is labeled, so it makes it much easier for you guys to put it on. Me, I'm what they call a professional, so I know what goes where, here and there, in between, top, bottom, side to side. So I don't need the sensors. But if you're a customer and you don't live around me, I prefer this harness, even though it's $550 or $650 with a nicer loom. If you start having issues, I can say, oh, check the TPS sensor, and then you just go look in and you find the throttle position sensor, and then you see what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm going to mount the computer here and the fuse block next to it, but we'll get to that. Factory harness. Going to stash that back here. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, all those wires. It's so simple. Stop being a quitter. That's why you're watching me, quitter. Element OP. So let's where are my power wires? There they are. So your power wire and your crankshaft position sensor are always together because they go down by the starter. Okay. Oh no, dang it. The only part that's annoying is how much longer this harness is compared to the Amazon harness. The Amazon harness is much shorter. This one, they give you a lot of length so that you can mount it here or in the damn trunk, I guess. So that is the issue I'm having right now. Two, there's the injectors. Cam sensor. Cam sensor is right next to your oil pressure sensor, which a swap does not use. So you either got to hook up a mechanical gauge or some sort of gauge. Oh, brother. Going to make it pretty at the same time as I plug everything in. So what is going on? There's so much loom. It's so long. Map sensor. Oh, I have a coolant temp sensor. I gotta have one somewhere. Yes, it is once again the next day. Um, I recorded more last night. I actually thought I was gonna get it running last night. I tried to get it running. I recorded me trying to get it running, and it wouldn't run. So here we are the next day. After about 2.5 hours of work, I just went ahead and did some more stuff. I just mentally cooked from life things, and it's easier for me to just work rather than worry about trying to record every single thing. So I'm just gonna bring in where I'm at. Well, where I'm done with at the moment. The swap technically is done. Mounted, ECU mounted, fuse block mounted. Absolutely everything is hooked up. This running across the top of the intake is the mass airflow extension, because on the harness the mass airflow sensor slash wire is way over here, because normally it would be the mass airflow sensor would be over here, but we got it running way over here, so got it running to an extension, and then I got it hidden in here kind of with these other wires, and then running back up over there. And my PCV all hooked up. Customer went with these spark plug wires from Amazon. The only one I had to reuse the factory one right here because they were just sitting, it was touching the header. I got it all routed and cleaned up. I got this unhooked. I'm going to show you guys this about the cooling system, but that'll be next video. I know I said that this video I was going to do everything, but I'm actually missing some parts, so I can't. Mainly, the biggest thing is the brake switch, but she runs. But, of course, there's always something. And this something is, when I put it in gear, it doesn't move. Which, I've been doing this for a while, and I have a feeling it is the torque converter not being seated properly, because when I did that, when I put the torque converter in before I bolted the transmission up to the engine, the factory torque converter, this is the aftermarket 10-inch converter, the factory 12-inch converters, I think they are, something like that, they're bigger. Factory ones are bigger. When you put it into a 4L60 and you spin it, it locks twice. Well, it clunks twice, technically. It's not called locking. It clunks twice because it goes on once, and then you spin it again, or you get it all spun around, clunk, one. Spin it again, however many times you need to, clunk, two. This one only clunked once. Now, I did spend a good amount of time trying to get it to clunk a second time, and it just would not. Pulled it out, put it back in, spin, clunk, spin, 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 nothing. Pull it back out, put it back in, spin once. So I was like, okay, maybe because it's an aftermarket converter, it's a smaller converter, which I have no idea if that makes a difference. It's only clunking once, and I've tried it so many times that has to be how it is. But I'm about 99% sure I'm going to give myself that 1% of, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm probably not, that the torque converter is not seated correctly, which means I would have to pull the transmission off and mess with it. Mentally, I stopped taking some medication that I've been taking since my wife passed, and that was a bad idea. So, sorry. Anyways, but she runs. So, let me set you up. I'm gonna set you up at the tailpipe so you can hear some choppity chop chop. It's not 100%. I put a little bit of a tune on it, but it definitely needs more tweaking. It needs more fuel air adjustment and all that, and probably a little bit of timing. But the customer is actually going to get a dyno tune, so I don't have to really try and dial this in too much. I just need to get it to where you can at least drive it. But it won't be perfect. I'm not a professional tuner. I'm not even in the realm of a good tuner. I just can do the stuff I need to do to make it run and drive. So let me set y'all up in Let's hear some chopping, finish this video. I apologize that I didn't get it all done in one like I was hoping to, but maybe the next 1 or 7. Well, there you go. She lives, but she doesn't move for now. Obviously, we are going to figure that out. Next video will be brake switch. You got brake switch, throttle cable, and then in between that, I'm gonna try and figure out why it's not going into gear. I just got a feeling that it's the torque converter not being seated because it's not throwing any codes. I checked that. So even if you don't have the harness hooked up to the transmission, it'll still manually move in gear if you put it in a gear. That has nothing to do with the transmission. Just tells the transmission when to shift. The computer just tells the transmission when to shift. But yeah, I gotta chill out. Appreciate you guys watching. Yeah, I don't know, not much to say. Like, subscribe, comment. I will see y'all on the next one.